Hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to No Glitches Allowed. We had slight issues on getting set up, so just waiting on verification that my audio is working before starting things off. As soon as I can get confirmation, anyone gives me like a thumbs up or something saying that things are working, that would be phenomenal. Audio sounds good. Cool. Here is my countdown on starting the timer. We're ready to go in 3, 2, 1, go. Hello! Welcome to No Glitches Allowed. I am Tasselfoot. You can call me Tass. And this is GRIS. GRIS is a artistic game as art platformer from late 2018 by NoGA Studios. It has light puzzle elements to it. Developers are Spanish, and because of that, then the name will make sense for you, because in Spanish, gris means gray. Story of the game is that your mother just passed away, and you're going through the 5 emotions of grief, and you're going through this journey in order to come to terms and acceptance with her passing. And so because of that, you've lost your voice, you've lost your way, and we're going to find and get it back by the end. The game takes place across those 5 emotions of grief. We're going to start off in denial, which is going to be represented by the color white. It's going to be pretty much an introduction, pretty quick, and then we're going to get into the 4 meat areas of the game. Those are going to be anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And those are represented by red, green, blue, and yellow. Yes, it's pronounced in if you were going to say it in English, grease, like the stuff that's a byproduct when you don't shower, or that you get under your hamburger and your grill, because that's how it's pronounced in Spanish. But it means gray. And that fits with the game because of all of the colors that we go throughout the game. We do have a long intro here, but we're going to get started in, it's going to be about 20 seconds, and then we're going to do a little bit of walking, and then the real action will begin. Oh, I should also mention, GRIS is on sale. So if you like what you see here and you're interested in buying the game, either for casual playing or for potentially speedrunning, the game is 40% off on Steam and on Nintendo Switch. So you definitely want to pick it up right away, this second. So this is GRIS. As I mentioned, she's kind of sad right now. You know, mom just died. You would be pretty sad too. But that's okay. Things will get better. About to get our first power-up, which is the ability to jump. I am a Tass. That is accurate. And away we go. Clearly you're going to notice I am bunny hopping. Just like with a lot of games, there is some minor friction when walking. So bunny hopping throughout the game is going to be about 3% faster than just walking. And that's on flat ground. On hills, inclines, declines, it's significantly more than 3% faster. It's up to like 40% faster on 45-degree angle hills. So definitely we're going to be single jumping throughout this entire run as much as possible. This is our introduction denial area. Yeah, everybody loves some good bunny hops, especially our controller manufacturers. I feel like they're in the big lobby to games, be like, oh hey, you know, you should really make jumping slightly faster. Totally won't break and destroy all of your controllers that way. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. So this thing right here is a star. The game actually calls them fireflies, but that's the main goal of the game. We need to collect those, and they're going to allow us to make bridges, which are eventually going to allow us to head up into heaven. Not actual heaven, but more like kind of like a rebirth. There aren't too many glitches in GRIS in general. The category that we're running right now is any % no out of bounds, which is the main category that people run. There is obviously therefore a any % out of bounds, which is just one out of bounds clip that saves about 2.5 minutes, about 45 minutes into the run. So you won't be seeing that trick in this run, but it can be done in the out of bounds. It requires down patching, which is kind of why it's not super popular for people to run. This is run on current patch. So all of these cutscenes have triggers and usually involve some kind of slow walking once you hit that trigger. So throughout the game, we're going to do our best to jump into these cutscenes because our jumping speed is faster than walking in the cutscene. And so we can save anywhere from like a couple of frames all the way up to about 2 full seconds on the cutscene that is coming up, which is the biggest time save for cutscene jumping in the game. At the end of every chapter, we're going to be jumping into the statue of our mother's hand right here. So there we go. That was a really clean cutscene jump right there. You'll also notice, if you're paying attention, that at the end of each chapter, the statue and the hand is going to get more and more complete. That's showing kind of, you know, our recovery and our progress towards getting over the death of our mother. So that's denial right there. That's white. We're now moving into red or anger. But after the end of each chapter, we wind up having to deposit our stars in the hub. And so that's what we're going to do right now. That's what we're going to do. We return to the hub at the end of every chapter. So one of the cool things about this game is that the entire game and the entire world is just one giant map. Do some nice stair jumping here, avoid that hole. The downside to having the entire game being one giant map is that there are some sections of just prolonged jumping as we traverse some area or go over one section to reach another, or backtrack back through a section that we already traveled in. There is very minor RNG in this game. There's loading RNG, which can, at the start of the game, which can be about 1/4 of a second variance. The stars that we just deposited into the sky there, there is some slate RNG as well, that again can be up to about 1/2 a second in random time loss. There are a couple other small parts of RNG as well that I'll point out when we get to them. But on the whole, I would say there's about 5 seconds of potential RNG time loss throughout an entire run of this category. This is the last long cutscene for a while. None of the cutscenes are skippable in this game, unfortunately, but they are all very beautiful, so they're not the worst thing in the world to watch. Overall, if you're new to speedrunning, or if you're looking for kind of like a counter game to what you normally run as a change of pace, I think GRIS works really, really well. It's a super chill game, and it's a super chill and relaxing speed run. So if you find yourself raging a lot in whatever else that you play, or if you're new and looking for a first game to get into as a new speedrunner, this game is very accessible. So I do recommend it. In case you forgot the name of the game, though, it's GRIS. So now we're coming up on the Sandstorm section of Anger. This section of the game used to be by far the most boring and tedious part of the game. It's entirely cycle-based. They're very easy to hit cycles, and none of them were skippable. You effectively could not gain or lose time. However, one of the runners in our community, Skylar, he's in the chat right now. I can see him making Kappa comments. He found a way to skip one of the cycles. And now, all of a sudden, only half of the Sandstorm section of the game is boring and tedious. But the second half is now actually pretty interesting. So shout out to Skylar. Got one more Sandstorm to go through, and then we start doing our movement to make sure that we can get the cycle. It's definitely not free. It's one of the harder tricks in the game, so I hope that I'm able to pull it off for you guys. We'll do my best here. Gotta grab this star here. And so starting here is where our movement for the Sandstorm skip begins. All right, so that's already bad. I only got half of a momentum slide and jump. I wanted to get a full one, but still do the best that I can here. So into the next, we're gonna grab a star here, and then we're gonna do what we call the Skylar shimmy, which basically we're going to use the wind of the Sandstorm to push us further to the left, and we need to get almost maximum potential amount of distance in order to be able to skip the cycle. And this trick is no, so I completely messed it up. I didn't even get to show off any of it, so that's unfortunate. It does require some pretty precise movements. You have to jump up right before the Sandstorm starts. You get pushed backwards to the left, and then you have to hold right back into the Sandstorm, jump, go back up into the left, and then repeat that process 3 times. All within the one sequence, and it will push you far enough to the left that you can make it all the way up to this third ledge here before getting pushed back. You can make it right there. And that will allow you then to skip the cycle in 2 cycles that I will point out. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait it out. And this is a 15.5 second time loss for not skipping the cycle. So it is a pretty heavy reset point for myself and other of the top runners of the game. This is my buddy Rocksteady. He carries us places. So this would be right here, the cycle that we would be able to skip if I had done it better. I'd be able to come here, and this Sandstorm would not play. So at least it's a free trick to try. There's no additional time loss for trying it and failing it, as opposed to just not trying it at all. And free time loss tricks are my favorite tricks. So now, in each area, when we've gathered 2 stars, that's when we're going to get our power up for each area. And that's usually at about the halfway point within that section of the game as well. So we're going to get our first real power up here. And it's an appropriate one because we're still in the anger stage of our emotion of grief right now. And so we're going to get a very angry power up. This is the heavy. It will allow us to not get blown back by things, and it will also allow us to break things. Sorry, I have to count in my head. .5 steps. So I do want to make sure to mention that it's a misnomer to say that there are 5 stages of grief. There are 5 emotions of grief. It's not a linear journey from one to the next to the next to the next. You do kind of ebb and flow between the various emotions of grief. And this game does a really good job of showing that it's not a linear journey.
Tassel.
Yes.
Do you mind if I take one real quick? My OBS is like basically killing over here. I need to lower the video settings real quick.
On your side?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.